When you're standing in a small shop or a garage and you need to sharpen a blade, shape a piece of metal, or clean up a rough edge, the temptation is to reach for the biggest, flashiest grinder you can find and hope it'll handle everything. The reality is a little more nuanced. Too much power without proper dust control can turn a simple job into a noisy, messy headache, and a grinder that's cheap on features often forces you to buy extra accessories just to make it usable. I've spent the past few weeks setting up the Jet IBG 10-inch industrial bench grinder together with the JDCS 505 metal dust collector stand, and I want to walk through what that actually looks like in a day-to-day shop environment, so you can decide if this combo is worth the spend for you. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, the biggest question most people have is whether a 10-inch grinder is overkill for occasional hobby work, or if it's truly the workhorse a small shop needs. The Jet IBG 10 is marketed as an industrial-grade machine, and that reputation isn't just hype. Its motor delivers plenty of power, which you'll notice right away when you spin the wheel up to 3,600 revolutions per minute. In practice, that means you can take a dull 3-inch metal cutting blade and bring it back to a razor edge in under a minute without the wheel bogging down. For a professional fabricator who needs to keep production moving, that quick turnaround translates directly into time saved on the floor. But power alone isn't the whole story. One of the hidden trade-offs with high-speed grinders is dust. Metal grinding produces a fine, abrasive cloud that can settle on surfaces, irritate lungs, and even cause the wheel to slip if it builds up in the guard. That's where the JDCS 505 dust collector stand steps in. It's not a standalone vacuum. It's a dedicated dust extraction system that mounts directly under the grinder's guard, pulling the metal filings away at the source. The efficient filtering claim isn't just marketing speak. The system uses a multi-stage filter that traps the fine particles, keeping the shop cleaner and reducing the need for frequent cleanup. In a real-world test, after a half-hour of grinding a batch of steel rods, the floor was barely dusted, and the air felt noticeably clearer than with a standard shop vac. Versatility is another promise that often falls flat in cheaper models, where you're limited to a single wheel size or you have to wrestle with a cumbersome wheel change. Jet designed the IBG 10 with a quick-change spindle and a dual-wheel setup, so you can mount a 10-inch grinding wheel on one side and a 10-inch sanding or buffing wheel on the other. Switching between them is a matter of loosening a single knob, which takes less than a minute. In my setup, I kept a coarse grinding wheel for heavy material removal on the left and a fine finishing wheel on the right. When a client needed a quick deburr on a machined part, I simply rotated the grinder to the finishing side, and the job was done without stopping to swap wheels. That kind of adaptability saves you the extra time and expense of buying a separate bench grinder for each task. Now, who should consider buying this combo? If you run a small metalworking shop, an auto body shop, or even a serious home-based hobbyist who regularly works with steel, aluminum, or stainless, the IBG 10 Plus JDCS 505 gives you a compact, yet capable workstation. The dust collector makes it feasible to operate in a confined space without compromising air quality, which is a big plus for home garages where ventilation is limited. The power level is also enough to handle tougher jobs like shaping a piece of stainless that would stall a cheaper 6-inch grinder. On the flip side, if you only need a grinder for occasional light tasks like sharpening a few garden tools a month, or you're primarily working with soft materials such as wood or plastics, the investment might feel excessive. The dust collector stand adds bulk and cost, and while it's great for metal filings, it's not necessary for low-dust projects. In those cases, a smaller, less expensive bench grinder without a dedicated dust extraction system will likely meet your needs without the extra footprint. Practical strengths become clear once you start using the combo day after day. The first thing you'll notice is the stability of the JDCS 505 stand. It's a sturdy steel frame with wheels that lock, so you can roll the entire unit into position and then lock it down for a solid base. This adaptable design means you can move the grinder around the shop as your workflow changes, then set it up exactly where you need it without worrying about wobble. The stand also houses the dust collection hose, keeping cords and hoses tidy and out of the way, which is a subtle safety benefit. Safety is another area where Jet does more than just slap a guard on the grinder. The IBG 10 includes an overload protection feature that automatically shuts off the motor if the wheel is